Another bad night for the Liga as Manchester City comfortably in a composed way win at the Santiago Bernabeu. Erling Haaland with the winning goal from the penalty spot. O'Reilly with the equaliser. They were 1-0 down. Newcastle draw 2-2 away at Bayer Leverkusen after being down a goal, but also leading 2-1. They concede very late in that game. And Arsenal flex their squad depth tonight away against Club Brugge with a 3-0 victory. And again, very, very comfortable indeed. Do us a big favor, please, and hit the like button. Get yourself subscribing. Make sure that bell notification button is turned on as well. Panel coming later. Can't wait to get your thoughts and get your opinions. Bilbao drawing 0-0 tonight with PSG as well in a really big result. Benfica, 2-0 victory over Napoli. Antonio Conte proving again, no matter what he does domestically, he is not a top-class European manager as things stand. And Bodo Glimt getting a 2-2 draw away at Dortmund as well. Another scintillating night of Champions League football. And as I say, I cannot wait to break it down with you, go through it, and get your thoughts and feelings and opinions on it out there. But loads went on tonight. Loads to go through and loads to talk about. I'm going to start the review off tonight with Arsenal. We're going to go on to the big game later in the show. So make sure you stick with us. Make sure you grab yourselves a cup of tea and all that jazz. But Arsenal, I think, silenced a lot of people tonight. Arsenal, Noni Madueke, Martinelli, fantastic. They silenced a lot of doubters tonight. There was a lot of people banging for their blood. They demonstrated they do have brilliant squad depth. And on top of that, it shows what squad depth does for competition and how it can push players to another level. I'm going to break that down a little bit later on why that's so important. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and please hit that hype button. If you've got any hypes left this week, please use it on this bit of content. That would be amazing. But Arsenal went away to Club Brugge. And look, they're in a good position in the league, a strong position in the league, as we already know. It wasn't must win. That is true. It wasn't a necessity to win. But I know as well as you do, and let's call this out for what it is. The strength in depth is there. But of course, when you suddenly have a brand new backline that's never played together, as we saw against a very good Aston Villa, it can be tested and it can be penetrated and beaten. If it was that team playing together for 3, 4, 5, 6 games, relationships would also build. But we knew that Arsenal were going to have problems tonight. In fact, they picked up another knock to Urian Timber. 10 first-team players were either out-injured, left home, or on the bench tonight. So rotation included. 10. There's not very many teams in Europe that can do that. Now, I know that the Arteta outers, I know that the media was waiting for a slip-up to go, well, look, they've rotated, and look, they haven't won a game. A game they said was a dead rubber, a game they won't praise Arsenal for winning. Well, it doesn't matter, a dead rubber. They should be beating Club Brugge. But not when you rotate or have injuries for up to 10 players. That demonstrates that you have a very high quality strength in depth. Could they go away to Bayern Munich? Could they go away to Inter Milan? Could they go away to Atletico Madrid, Newcastle with that starting lineup and win? Probably not. But you're then talking about other very, very good teams across Europe. Where your strength in depth comes in is games like tonight, where you're able to rest Saka. You can leave Rice at home. I'm sure Timber's injury isn't too bad. It's more of a knock. But again, Arteta doing tonight what Arsenal fans have been begging him and asking him to do for a long time. And that's rest players that have got little niggles, leave some of the stars at home, leave some of the first 11 on that bench, and let the squad players, let the fringe players scrap it out. And they did a fantastic job of that tonight. And I want to start by talking about Noni Madueke, because I'm still not looking at him as this, oh my God, what an amazing signing. I'm not going to sit here and gaslight you and bullshit you into that. I criticised it when Arsenal did it, along with the majority of football fans, including Arsenal supporters. I didn't think it was a good deal. But I felt so far in his Arsenal career, he's done a good job. He had the unfortunate injury that kind of slowed his progression in the team down. But I felt the majority of the time he's played for Arsenal, he's been very attack-minded, consistently runs at a fullback, something I rate, a threat, and a really good team player. Doesn't moan, doesn't complain, left, right, on the bench, starting, gives his all when he comes onto the pitch. And I think that's a real asset to have. On top of that, and this has been since returning from injury, what I'm now noticing from Noni, or not noticing, we're all seeing, is the output is starting to arrive. And it's the biggest criticism that he got whilst at Chelsea, is there was a lot of skill, a lot of threat, but not a great deal of end product. And the opening goal tonight from Noni Madueke was absolutely fantastic on every level. On every level, one of the best goals you'll see in the Champions League this year. Picks it up about a third of the way into Brugge's half, I should say. It's not Bruges, it's Brugge. I get told off every time I say it wrong. Dribbles past a couple of players, shows great strength, direct towards goal, opens up, hits it with the left foot, and only a certain generation are going to understand what I'm about to say when I say Tony Yubara, right? It reminded me of Yubara. Into that top corner, crossbar and in, an absolute scorcher of a goal. Arsenal deserved to take the lead, there's no doubt, up until that point. But it was a moment of brilliance, a moment of exceptional quality from Noni Madueke. And I feel that his performance overall tonight, plus the majority of the times he's played for Arsenal, warranted it. Now, I would then say Brugge had the better of the last 10 to 12, maybe 15 minutes before halftime. They were really putting Arsenal under a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pace on the counter-attack. Forbes on the right-hand side from their City Academy. He's obviously now at Brugge. He was a constant threat, and they had a couple of decent chances. And on the 43rd minute, David Raya comes up with a fantastic save to keep Arsenal ahead. And then what we've seen from Arsenal a lot in the Champions League this year is they come out in the second half with the bit between their teeth. They come out in the second half with an authority. We saw them do it to Bayern Munich, a far superior team to Club Brugge, but come out Zubimendi early in the game with a delightful cross to the back post. And what I saw there from Noni Madueke is what I didn't see him do enough at Chelsea. What I want to see him do more. In fact, I want to see all wingers do it more. Make that darting run to that back post. Gamble when those balls come in. Because your striker's nearly always going to go to the front post. So get yourself towards that back post. He does. He meets the ball, gets a brace. And I felt at 2-0, the game was done. Now, from that point, and what I think was even more important than that is Arsenal maintained their intensity. They didn't sit off at 2-0. They went for that third goal. Absolutely imperative to get the third goal. And it comes from Martinelli. And again, it was another wonder goal. You know, I've been an advocate of this in football until the day I die. Whether that's tonight, God willing it's not, or in 100 years. Probably I don't want to live for 100 years either. That'd be quite painful. But you get my point. Team fans need to ask their clubs to buy, develop, coach more moments of brilliance, not less. That is what is needed. And Gabriel Martinelli with, I think, his 5th Champions League goal in 6 games. And it was an absolute perler. A wonder strike. Killed the game. End of. And before I round up on Arsenal, I want to say a massive well done to Martinelli. For years, I have debated on YouTube, on Spaces, wherever it may be, against the idea of pathways. And what I mean by that is, of course, you always want there to be pathways at your club for players. But 9 times out of 10, you might every now and then have a manager that has a disliking towards a certain player. Man United right now, Kobe Mainu and Amorim. You get those examples, but they're the anomalies. If you are good enough, you play. If a new player is purchased and you outperform them, you'll play. If you have a better attitude, if you're more consistent. Noni Madueke has come in. A brand new number 9 has come in. Both those players challenge Martinelli's position, because Martinelli could be used centrally, but you know when Kai Havertz is fit, Kai Havertz and Gyökeres are going to dominate those central areas. Trossard's been in brilliant form this year, and as they can play out on that left. But what I feel like Martinelli has done, instead of being a sulker, instead of being a baby, instead of being petulant, throwing his toys out the pram, sabotaging his team, he's got his head down, he's worked hard, and he's now producing the outputs that, if he continues across all comps, he'll match and surpass his best ever season. And that's exactly what every football club and every fan of said club should demand. It isn't, oh, why are we buying another attacker? We're going to get in the way of the development of Martinelli. We're going to get in the way of the development of Saka, the development of X, Y, and Z. It's a nonsense. Buy players to improve your squad at all times, because part of what you've got to test is your players' ability to fight through adversity. Just if to get into your own first team is hard, imagine how hard they're going to work each week to stay in that team. It's why the great teams always have good squad depth. Part of the reason is they've got good squad depth is why they win, but they maintain that squad depth, they maintain that sharpness, because training games can be as hard as it playing any other team in the country, and it keeps you at your absolute best. Now, to round up the Arsenal game, I'm going to say this: Mikel Arteta deserves a lot of credit for tonight. He did again. The only thing I would say I probably wouldn't have done if I was him, but I'm probably thinking more about PR, is I wouldn't have brought Saka on, because that will still wind up the detractors. But Urian Timber, little knock, rests him. Rice, I don't even know if Rice flew out. I didn't look at the news, but he wasn't on the bench tonight, as an example. He gave starts to the right individuals, made some substitutions. Even the young lad, I don't know the young, Simon, I want to say Salmon, might have said his name wrong, I'm really sorry. He came on. I think we got the squad rotation right, the team correct, a brilliant away performance, and it's 18 points, a perfect record, 17 goals scored, 1 conceded, plus 16 goal difference. Arsenal have already, they need one more point essentially because their goal difference is so good. They're basically in the top 2 already, which means all their knockout games will have the second leg at home, which I always feel is an advantage. It's been a phenomenal Champions League campaign for Arsenal so far. Their fans should be very proud. There shouldn't be a single gooner on planet Earth unhappy with their Champions League element. And of course, after a bad result of the weekend, what a way to bounce back with your squad players being used. Wolves next. I still think there should be a large element of rotation before you go on to I think it's Everton they play away. But well done to Arteta, well done to Arsenal tonight. Do me a favor, please, and like and share if you haven't done so already. Hit that like button, subscribe, and of course the hype button as well. Sorry for the voice. A few people asking. Yes, I've got a stinking cold. So yeah, that's why the voice is the way it is. But I will survive. I will survive. Now, before I go to your super chats, I want to speak on Man City as well tonight. I want to speak on Man City because I want to give them some credit. I thought Man City tonight were fantastic. I thought Man City dominated in the right areas. I felt they were composed, calm. It was easy. It was another very bad night for La Liga. Now, I've argued for years that the Premier League is better than La Liga, but I've always been very, very specific with that. I've spoke about in terms of the overall package of the league, the amount of people that watch it, the drama, the international viewership, etc. And my opinion is proven by the world because of the amount of people that watch it. In fact, La Liga over the last decade has lost viewers in its own country, where the Premier League is growing internationally at all times. But I always conceded, because of preference, that it's for a lot of people, La Liga had more quality in it, and it's fair. And I understood where they were coming from. And if you look at Europe, what La Liga teams consistently did to Premier League teams, it's hard to argue against the quality. Now, the quality of something was different from it being a bigger and better league, even though their teams, you could argue, were better. I never had that argument because a lot of the time it's subjective, but they were dominant. You actually start looking now at Premier League teams versus La Liga sides in the last 18 months to 2 years. It's been an almighty turnaround. It truly has. And it's a bad night for their league, but more importantly, a bad night for Xabi Alonso. There's talk that he could be gone, that he could be fired, he could lose his job. And if I'm being honest with you, I feel a bit sorry for him. Because what I watched tonight was so many players just trying to be the main man and be the star, instead of playing as a team and playing as a unit. And that's where Manchester City was so good. That's where Manchester City was so consistent. That's where Manchester City were just by far the better team on every single level is they played as one, they played as a unit, they played together, and they just made it almost impossible for Real Madrid to really create gilt-edged chances. So of course they were going to have chances, they were going to have opportunities, but a lot of it was speculative in my personal opinion. It wasn't gilt-edge. It wasn't, oh my God, how did they not score from there? 16 shots they had, only one on target. But I just felt that they again, maybe it would feel different if I watched it back in time. But Rodrigo scored a brilliant goal, first goal in 32 games. What was there after that? Enric had a good header near the end. There was a great opportunity, a great bit of play where Bellingham's played in. He goes for the speculative chip instead of hitting it low and hard. But I would say there's about 7 or 8 times where players were taking shots. They're flying over, they're being blocked, they're being cleared. When through balls and crosses to your teammates were the better option, they didn't take it. But I loved how City played. They were resolute. They were hard to break down. They didn't overly gamble. A very, very professional and a very, very top performance from City. Considering, by the way, they're a team that 2 league games ago conceded two goals against Leeds and 4 goals against Fulham. To go back-to-back games without really being overly penetrated, and one of them is away at the Santiago Bernabeu, they should be very, very proud of that indeed. Very, very proud indeed. And there's a player I want to mention too. I've already named him about 100 times. Cherky. This man is a genius in the making, I'm telling you. He pops up on the left, he pops up on the right. His weight of pass, there was a ball in about the 58th minute, one that stood out. I'd take a note of it because I didn't want to forget when it happened in the game. He slid this ball through to Foden that just about a Real Madrid player got a toe to take it off of Foden's feet, who would have gone through and probably scored. But he just sees, he's like Legolas from Lord of the Rings. He can see things before they happen. That's what I'm going to call Cherky from now, is Legolas, because he sees things before they happen. I love watching him play. Look, he's one of those players that passes the eye test, but he creates openings, he breaks lines, and he does it in such a nonchalant way as well. I absolutely love what he brings, and if he can stay fit for a period of time and just be bedded more and more into the City team, build more and more relationships with his teammates, this man is going to be a potent threat, not just in the Premier League, but across Europe as well, because Cherky is a genius. It's as simple as that. But look, I want your views and opinions. I'm going to go to some of your comments here. Firstly, I want to apologize for my Napoli take earlier in the season, Terry. I was on the McSauce, but on Madrid, highly possible he might be sacked. Back-to-back defeats at home, only 2 wins since the start of November. Yeah, maybe he will be. Look, I've got a theory. I've got a theory that's a very loose theory when it comes to Real Madrid. Very, very loose theory indeed. And that is, can they really afford all the best players in the world anymore? Real Madrid, Barca, can they afford all the best players? They've got some of the best, but can they afford all of the best players? I don't know. You think about their current squad and team. How many Real Madrid players right now, if they were up for sale, would Arsenal truly go and buy? Would City buy? Would Liverpool buy? Would Chelsea buy? Vinicius' junior name will come up, and Rodrigo. A lot might want Bellingham. Valverde. Courtois, although he made a mistake tonight. And the reason I say that is, look, there's still a lot. I'm not saying nobody wants any of them. But I remember a time where you would go goalkeeper, right back, both centre-backs, the whole midfield, the whole attack. I remember a time, the whole bench. You'd want everything. And I just had this, it's a very loose theory, because I was only thinking about it during the game, right? So I haven't even done any research into this. But I'm only speaking about it now, spitballing with my audience. Is it plausible with the financial difficulties La Liga has and the financial clout the Premier League has, and so many Premier League teams now can afford so many top quality players, is it not plausible that Real Madrid, a team that has never really been renowned for having a set style of play and a real regimented system like Barcelona, if they can't then afford the best players in Europe build the best squad in Europe. If they don't have a set style of play and it is more about individuals delivering, they're not going to struggle. Because I feel like what I saw tonight again was a lack. Considering they've got Alonso, that had such a great system by Leverkusen. I'm just wondering why it didn't feel like it had been implemented at all. They're nowhere near as defensively structured as Bayer Leverkusen were. And Bayer Leverkusen were the best team in Germany. It wasn't like they were sitting back and being ultra negative in every game, but they were so defensively strong. Real Madrid looked flimsy to me. I know they've got injuries, right? I understand that. And I'm only spitballing. I don't even know if what I'm saying is true. I just think it was just a thought. And I wanted to put that thought out to you guys to give me your views and opinions on. Because for me, I look at Real Madrid now. They remind me a little bit of looking at Brazil. I look at them and go, oh, some really good names. But I think back to how scary their teams and squads used to be. Don't think they are anymore to that same level. I go, oh, some really good players. But if you're defensively sound against them, I think you can stop them. Barring them whipping the ball into the top corner from the edge of the box, they really struggled to break City down tonight. They'll beat a lot of the smaller sides. But they, by the way, they did draw 3-3 with Club Brugge, who Arsenal, with 10 of their first team players rested or out of their first team tonight, just beat 3-0 away from home. There's something in that for me. But I'd love you guys to discuss that more. Arsenal praise Norgard, Noni, Raya. Do you know what? I didn't even think. Do you know what? Do you know what's crazy about that? When I spoke about Arsenal earlier, I didn't even think about Norgard. The fact he's a central midfielder played at centre back tonight. Well done to him. But that's how well he did. I didn't even notice. Got paid with City and Arsenal wins. Klopp to Real Madrid. Yeah, I don't want Klopp. See, Klopp's probably the kind of manager that would be good for them. I'm not saying he didn't have a system and he wasn't good defensively, but just like, but in fairness, I didn't. When it comes to Alonso, I said it's either going to go brilliantly or it's going to end badly. I just don't know if the players want to work that hard. It's my honest view. So maybe Klopp won't be good for them. Do you know how hard you've got to work in a Klopp team? Klopp's teams only worked because they put so much effort, energy, and manpower into their attacks, but they double that effort and energy to get back in shape when they lost possession. I don't know if this Real Madrid team is going to do that. Probably going to end badly as well now, I think about it. But there we go. I want to call in. How do I contact KJ to do it? Go onto his Twitter. Just find KJ on Twitter. And by the way, people, Conor, my thumbnail design, doesn't do all my thumbnails. He's backstage after an Arsenal win. So we'd have to call him out so much today that he's on. There we go. I wouldn't say Chelsea stunned Madrid. Madrid suck. I'm not going to take that away from City tonight. I'm going to praise City. I think City, that's why I'm wearing sky blue. No, not really. It's just a t-shirt. But when I lived in Manchester, it was so strange. Like grown men that were like City fans, that they just come into the phone shop I worked in and they'd want this certain phone. I want to get there was a Nokia phone when I used to sell phones called a what was it called? Sirocco or something. And it looked like platinum, and it was like a platinum looking metal case Nokia phone that slid down. They were like £800 to buy, or you could get them on contract. But they weren't. But even if you bought them on pay as you go, only one network sold them, and it was Vodafone. So you get all these City fans coming in. I think it was called a Sirocco. I think it was called the Sirocco. They'd come in. I want a Sirocco. Do you want it on finance, or do you want it on credit, like a monthlies, or do you want to buy it outright? Whatever you told, great. 80% of them, when they saw that it was only on Vodafone, wouldn't buy it. No, Vodafone sponsor Man United. I just always used to think, oh, that's crazy. So that's why I still wear sky blue, because I just think I'm not doing the bitch move like that. That's the reason for it. That used to really throw me. I was like, grown man really wants that phone, but won't take it because it's on Vodafone. Jeez. Is Madrid turning into player FC? But I always think it's had an element of that about it. I'm not saying they have zero system and zero structure, but I think there's always been that element of that with Real Madrid, because it's always been a case of, right, we're struggling a little bit. Let's go and buy the best striker in the world, the best centre-back in the world, the best goalie in the world, and that'll make us okay. It's never really been about most clubs need an element of a system that helps cover up for the weaknesses in their teams. Pep's teams need it. And if he didn't have the right players for the system, it wouldn't work. We saw it last year. Something about, I don't know. Something feels a bit off key. Noni's goal reminded me of a typical Messi goal. I mean, look, yeah, I wouldn't mention Messi and Madueke in the same breath, but it was an amazing goal. It was an amazing goal. I think Madrid need a number 9 badly. Yeah, but maybe it's a certain position and it all comes together. But if it is just they need a number 9, then there's no point sacking Alonso, if that makes sense. But I thought they were weak defensively tonight. They open up a lot in games. It was like a basketball match really early, and I didn't think it needed to be. But again, that's just me. Well, I'm going to bring the panel on now because I am suffering right now. Genuinely suffering with this cold. And what I've been doing each night last week, because United played Monday, is I take a shot of night nurse when I get about halfway through the show. So by the time we finish, I just go to sleep. Last night, it went on for about 40 minutes longer than I wanted to. I was sitting here nearly fucking drooling, nearly falling asleep. It's a good sedative, night nurse. A bit of night nurse goes a long way. One shot only, people. They don't sponsor me either, so I can just talk about them. So I don't need to put anything up. They're not my sponsors. Imagine being sponsored by night nurse. Anyway, my honky wonky people, let me do this. Let me do that. Who we got backstage? We got Conor here. We got Anton. We got Ash. For it away. We got Dayo here with us. We got Kane here. We got the lovely Kel. We have Brandon, and we have Mr. Sparks. How you doing? Welcome to the show. I didn't recognize who it was backstage first. Sometimes that happens. I'm like, oh, who's that? Welcome back, everybody. I'm going to Kel first. Kel, a big win tonight for City away against Madrid. How you feeling after that one?
Dude, I'm still at a loss for words. I don't know how we won that game. I thought we were awful. We were terrible. We had no midfield at all. Completely bullied off the park in the middle. Our defense somehow held on. We scored from a set piece, which we never do. Haaland made a penalty because Haaland has been pretty shaky his last few pens. He misses only one he's had in the Premier League this season. So I don't know. I don't know how we won that game, but I'm really happy we did. So I'm like I said, I'm just stunned. I can't believe we won that game. And yeah, just we needed it. We needed it after that Leverkusen debacle. Like you had to bounce back. And another reason I'm not one to complain about the refs, but that guy needs to retire. I'm sorry, he was fucking terrible today. Excuse my language, but Rudiger should have gotten sent off because if Federico Valverde he should have gotten booked for diving. Instead, Nico O'Reilly got booked. The exact same thing happened on the other end of the pitch where Savinho got pushed in the box and Rudiger was on a yellow already. He should have been sent off, but oh no, it's Madrid. They can't get sent off. Of course not. And I went off on Rudiger. That guy has no place in this game anymore. I'm ashamed that he's German because I have a German background. That guy is a complete disgrace. And I'm just running down the days till he retires. I hate that guy so much.
You're very hard to please, aren't you, Kel?
I'm happy we won the game. I'm just like, I'm shocked that we did. I'm trying to figure out how we won the game.
Do you know what's interesting?
So poor.
Do you know what, Kel?
We did, clearly.
I respect your honesty. I do. However, my honest opinion, you're still riding on the nerves of the game. Watching you as someone who wanted you to lose, you felt really comfortable to me. I didn't. The only way Madrid were going to score. By the way, what the fuck have you done to your hair, Ash? What is that?
I couldn't be. I just had a shower, mate. I couldn't be asked to do anything with it.
That was like a bowl. What is that?
Mate, I just had a shower before the game. I couldn't be asked to sort it out.
Sorry. Reminded me of when he first came on. I thought he looked like Pugsley from the Addams Family.
I was thinking of Ed Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, but sorry. It threw me when I looked up and saw it. Sorry, Kel. Like, unless they bent it in from the edge of the box into the top corner, which is just a wonder strike, I didn't really feel they were going to penetrate you. And I get that you felt like the midfield got bypassed, but I felt that's kind of your plan, was to do that. Maybe you could have been a bit better on the counter attack in the second half, but I honestly, no shade being thrown.
Every time we had the ball, we just immediately lost it. And that's our midfield's fault. Like, and anytime Donnarumma had a long ball, it went straight to Madrid, and it took them 2 seconds to just cross the halfway line and get into a good position. It just felt like we were hanging on for dear life that whole second half, and I got really frustrated.
I hear that.
To watch, it's like the Fulham game all over again. It's just like I'm really like, these games are very nerve-wracking, man. I'm used to more stability. Like keeping the ball, even if you're just boring sideways passing, like, yeah, do that when you have a lead, not to try to get the lead. And they just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. Even though it didn't create any chances, I mean, they could have, but maybe it was kind of a mid-off. Somebody left a comment. They were like, oh, this is a mid-off in the first half. And I was like, maybe that guy was right. I don't know.
Maybe. Do you know what? Maybe it's the way my club in its pomp played football away from home in Europe. We played a lot like this, where we didn't have a lot of the ball. We were hard to beat, and we'd nick games. Maybe because I saw that my whole life, saw us win 2 Champions Leagues. That's what. Maybe I don't judge teams harshly. Maybe teams that are more used to attacking, possession-based football in their pomp see it differently. So I understand the view there.
I have to give some credit to Courtois too. He had a couple of world-class saves, and otherwise we could have been up 3 or 4-1, but he was very good in that first half. We had that counterattack right before the end of the half where Holland hit it straight at him, and then Turkey on the deflection, like that could have been a goal too. So that guy, man.
I hear that.
Best keeper in the world. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, no. Well, other than for the mistake for the goal.
Yeah. He kind of pulled Nederson on that one. He should have just held the ball.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Conor, my old mate. Big rotation tonight away from home in Europe against a team that can be dangerous. A lot of pace, a lot of counter-attack, but a 3-0 victory. The perfect start to Europe continues. You're practically now in the top 2 after PSG drop points. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic performance today from the whole team, pretty much. No complaints at all. We've kept our fantastic run going. Still got another clean sheet today, which was good. That's what still 1 goal conceded in the Champions League this season. Absolutely fantastic. 2 fantastic. Well, they're all fantastic goals, but the first one from obviously Madueke and then that Martinelli one as well was absolutely sublime. And Zubimendi on top form today. The cross actually in for the Madueke second goal was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, we really held our own today. And I want to give a shout out as well to David Raya. He made some phenomenal saves today to keep it as a clean sheet. And it's nice to have this to fall back on from the result on the weekend, because it is still a bit of a breaker. Only being 2 points ahead instead of what we were before. But overall today was really, really good. And Madueke absolutely was outstanding today. And when I was at the Brentford game and watching him, he is. And people say like the bar between. Listen, I don't know if this is an outlandish statement, but between him and Saka, I think he is that good fullback player to go back on. I mean, look at the players we had behind the years. We've had the Fabio Vieiras, the Reece Nelsons of the world. It's not been when we've had an injured Saka, or say we've had to rotate. We haven't had that player. We're like, we have to have Saka there. It's nice to have that player like Madueke, who's got the skill, who's got the pace, who's got the flair that we can rely on. And is actually a really, really decent player. And to think at the start of the season, a lot of people were shaming on him, saying, what's this kind of money paying? What's this money that we're paying? Shit player, this, that, fucking people ruining things of him outside the Emirates, So he's really putting those people to silence. And absolutely fantastic from him today. I can't complain about today's performance. I think Forbes was great for Club Brugge today. He really did take Lewis Skelly on a bit of a joyride in that first half. He was really good, and for a bit of the second half as well. The only thing I will have out of today is obviously it's a shame that our striker couldn't get on the score sheet, and I think conversations do need to be had about what we're going to do with him. Do we wait until he sort of finds his way into the system? Do we try and fit him into a new system? Do we make a system to make it around him? I think that's the thing that we do have to think about now, because these lack of goals from Gyökeres. I know he's just come back from injury and stuff, so maybe you never know in the upcoming games. Maybe against Wolves he could get a goal. But I really do want to see him starting to score, and it's just a question of how do we do it. Fantastic performance today from the whole team, really. Yeah,
I agree with what you said about Noni. I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I'm someone that I couldn't understand why you were doing it. Not enough consistency from him as an example, although there was a lot of skill there. And I was going to ask Brandon this question as well. Let's carry on from there. Not just tonight, but has he surpassed your expectations so far based on what you thought he would bring to the team, Noni Madueke?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I think we all knew that Noni Madueke is a dangerous player who likes to take his man on. The only sort of element that was missing from his time at Chelsea was just his consistency in terms of scoring goals. Very often the guy would get to the byline and make the wrong choice in terms of the pass or shooting at goal. Not very consistent in that aspect. But he has been very consistent for Arsenal. He's done very well. He deserves a lot of praise for tonight, definitely, because it's not very often that Arsenal are going to make 10 changes. We're going for big trophies this season. We're trying to win big trophies this season. So a lot of the time we're going to be picking our best 11. And unfortunately, these players that are kind of our second string players are not going to get to play that often. So, when they do play, all you can ask from them is that they come in and give the manager a headache, make him think, that, you should be part of the first 11. And Noni Madueke did that tonight. 2 cracking goals from him. Great cross from Zubamendi. I agree with everything that Conor said about the goals. Martinelli in the second half, another player who's fighting for his position. Trossard's got it at the moment. Obviously, he's out injured. He takes his opportunity tonight. And I think tonight was about not so much Arsenal as a collective, because I don't actually think we was that great as a collective, but at the same time, we didn't need to be. I think it was more about individual performances tonight. Madueke, Martinelli, Zubamendi played well in the midfield. Norgard, considering he's not a centre-back to, come into the side, and, you'd want him to sort of play in his natural position. Unfortunately, he's having to fill in, at centre-back because we're so short in that area. And he did it very well. He did it very, very well. But there are 1 or 2 things that I do want to pick up on because I don't want them to get missed. And this isn't me being like massively negative, by the way, but I do think we need to, air these things out. That midfield today will be the midfield that Arsenal have if anything happens to Declan Rice in terms of injury. That's a scary thought, because in that first half, that midfield was getting bypassed so easily. It's not strong enough in terms of just positionally, the strength. We really miss Declan Rice in that Declan Rice's energy in that midfield, and that's my only worry. Declan Rice gets injured for any period of time, we're going to struggle in terms of midfield, because we're quite fortunate in the sense that Club Brugge, although they had the pace on the counter attack, they didn't really do anything in terms of their finishing. Their finishing was very, very poor. But in that first half in particular, obviously Madueke scores the goal. But after that, when they was putting us under pressure, every single time it was one ball over the top of the midfield and they're in on our defence, and a better finishing team would probably have scored 2 or 3 goals from that. So we're quite fortunate in that aspect. We come out in the second half, we score the goal early. I think that kills the game off. I think that kind of kills their hope as well. But yeah, the midfield for me being one thing. And then I'm going to touch on what Conor said about Gyökeres. For me, I feel sorry for the guy. I really do, because I watched him tonight for the majority of that first half. He's making the right runs. Just nobody's finding him. We're not set up to play as a team that looks for our striker. We are very much a, collective kind of it has to be done collectively. You have scorers all across the pitch. We're not now going to change it all of a sudden just to suit one guy. And I don't think he has settled in and taken to this Arsenal system and this Arteta way of playing in the way that we probably hoped that he would do, or the manager hoped that he would do. And I think it's unfortunate for him, but I think in reality, he's going to be fourth choice under Arteta. I really do. Because I look at Mourinho and what he's offering us up front. Okay, he's scoring goals at the moment, but we know that these false nines don't tend to score goals on a regular as much as what, a natural striker would. But he brings everything that Arteta wants to the team. Havertz is very much the same. Gabriel Jesus, he drops into midfield. He does that link-up play. Gyökeres, that's not his game. It's just not his game. And at the moment, I don't see Arteta doing anything to try and get the best out of Gyökeres. I don't see any of the players looking for him on the pitch. And I feel like this is probably going to be the one signing that we made in the summer where you're going to look at it and think it hasn't worked out. I just don't think
I disagree.
He's an Arsenal player under this manager that suits the way we play. And I don't think the manager, unfortunately, is going to do anything to change the way we play. Because at the end of the day, I suppose it is getting him results. But at the same time, I'd like to think that Arteta would do something, change something to get the best out of Gyökeres, but I've yet to see it. I've yet to see it, and I don't think
you guys
he's
win
so
tonight?
stubborn he won't do it.
Did you guys win tonight? I can't tell. None of you lot are smiling. Sorry, you had that. You were getting that ready, weren't you?
You know the funny thing. We just came out of a Champions League game away, 3-0. Gyökeres coming back from injury. He's put in a game, and we're discussing Victor Gyökeres. Like I don't.
I think it's a fair point.
No. Can I just say, right? We did all of this Hang on. We did all of this last season. We did all of this last season. We did all of this the season before. Every time we do this, we sit there and we go, "Oh, it's okay. There's one or two little things that we picked up on. We shouldn't be picking up on it because we won 3-0 in the Champions League." I'm not being massively critical, Dayo. I'm just saying there's one or two things we need to sort out. We need to sort these out.
No. Okay, let me come to you now. Let me. Yeah, go on.
Noni scored wonderful goals today. Nobody expected that from him because we know his finishing is not always the best, right? But amazing stuff that the guy did today. You have to give credit to that. Victor Gyökeres, I just give him a pass for now. The same way I've given every striker who's come into the league, except for some who can hit the ground running. He just got back from injury. He's getting back into the team. He scored a few goals. And again, today he pulled defenders away, which gave space. I mean, Noni's run in there where he had the header. Defenders are going to track him to mark him because of how he plays. So the fact that we want to now say, oh, let's just change everything so that he can get more goals. Okay, what if he gets 2 goals and they outscore 3-2 and we don't win the game? It doesn't matter if he's scoring or not to me at this very point. What matters is winning the game as a team. And as a team, this team works. We look strong with him in it, and we also look strong with him away from the team. That's all that is the most important thing. Yes, he will get his goals. His time will come. A lot of great players who scored many goals in the Premier League and Champions League, their first few games, half seasons, they didn't score anything. They were figuring out how to blend in. Eventually, that time will happen. I don't think the manager has done anything wrong with the way he set up. If he sets up and he gives you the result, I take the result. I take the result over any individual.
Just a quick question.
Game, hold on, let me finish. I'm not. People can believe what do whatever.
No. I was just going to ask on the point though. Do you believe that, and it's just a genuine question, do you believe that the system we play doesn't really facilitate to Gyökeres' strengths as a striker?
Because it's yielding results right now, and as a manager, you have to pick and choose your battles. You're not going to change your system in the middle of the season.
No, I understand.
Just to see Gyökeres. My point is, Gyökeres, look, Thierry Henry said something about Arsene Wenger that he told him. He said when he first came on, he wasn't doing very well. Arsene Wenger told him, look at the players around you and play to their strength. He said when Arsene Wenger told him that, that's what changed his game. Thierry said this in an interview. He was playing the way he could play. He was playing his own style, and it wasn't working. First 9 games, Henry did not score any goals. Maybe Gyökeres needs to adapt himself to the system, not the system adapt itself to Gyökeres. You're one guy. I get it. He scored many goals last season, but you're in a different league now. You've come to the Premier League, and you're no longer in the Portuguese league. It's different, and you have to also learn to adapt and change as a player. That's all I believe in. Like at the end of the day,
but he's doing that though.
Any player that wants to thrive, you are in a system that works right now for Arsenal. If you adapt yourself, you'll score more goals.
Dayo, he's doing that, mate. He's just not very good at it.
I know, but he was.
I disagree with that, Brandon. I think with that.
Hang on. Let me tell you why he's not very good at it, right? Victor Gyökeres. What Arteta wants from his striker is very clear to see, right? Because it's the same when you go back to Lacazette. It's the same when you go back to even Aubameyang, right? Yeah. Arteta wants his striker to drop deep. He wants
can
his
adapt.
striker
He'll have a season-
to
he'll
bring
have a
other
season
players.
run.
Hang on, he wants his striker to bring other players into the game as well, right?
False nine.
Is he not doing that?
Gyökeres's link-up play is probably the weakest part of his game. His
He'll
first
work on
touch is not very good.
He will work
However,
on it.
What are you?
hang
What are
on,
you watching?
however, I said this the other night. There's one player, right, who is very much the same in terms of that aspect of his game. Romelu Lukaku has an awful first touch. However, if you get that guy in the right positions in the box, he will score you 20 to 25 goals. I just don't see Arteta and Arsenal doing enough of that for Victor Gyökeres because we don't play to his strengths.
Guys, we could go around on this for a long time, but I want to speak about the game as well, if possible,
today,
please.
So the midfield for me today, I just quickly finish on my thing before he jumped in. Sorry about that, Terry. The midfield for me today, I think we still have enough depth in our midfield. I'm glad that we could play Norgard and Zubimendi today to see what it looks like. Even though Norgard played in as a centre back, but you see him pushing up, which is good. We still have Eze. So if ever Declan Rice is not there again, there's nothing wrong with a Zubimendi, Odegaard, and Eze midfield. I don't see anything wrong with that midfield. That's a very creative midfield that can create a lot of chances for Gyökeres again. So I think we have enough in the squad to keep pushing. This is one goal conceded in this whole six game run in the Champions League, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing for me. I'd never expect that this team would be doing this, to be honest, to this level at this consistent basis. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm super happy about it.
I hear you on that. Look, I think 1 goal conceded in 6 Champions League games is something to be so chuffed with. And on the midfield side of things, there is another midfielder that I think could help you stop being bypassed so easily. He plays centre-back tonight in Norgard as well. So there are other options that you would use, but that's just why I think you should be so proud of your record so far this year, because 10 first-team players out, dropped, rested tonight, whatever it may be, and you're winning 3-0 away at Club Brugge, who they're not an easy team. They're not an easy team. Like, we've seen them beat some really good teams. I mean, I'm not saying this is like going away to PSG and winning 3-0 with 10 first-team players out, but it's still a good achievement. Cal, how impressed were you tonight with Arsenal's kind of setup and approach to the game?
Yeah, I was very impressed. I think the fact that we rotated so many players, we had the confidence to, just keep Declan Rice home. We kept Timber at home as well. Those guys weren't even on the bench. We do have those injuries in the best centre-back pairing in the world not being around, and we still managed to cope with it. Mascara's injured, and we still managed to cope with it. The fact that he's able to, that we're able to put someone like Norgard in the centre-back position, and we still look decent, I think that's a really good thing. And I think one thing I was not expecting was the individual quality from Madueke and Martinelli tonight. I think that was a massive surprise, I think, from all of us, because they scored some insanely amazing goals. That Madueke first goal I didn't see that coming. And I don't think any of us saw the Martinelli goal coming either. Those were top goals. And it's really nice to see that our squad players are showing their quality, and they're having the confidence to shoot. And that's something that I think we've kind of criticized the club on, criticized the team on, not willing to shoot, passing it around the box, passing it around the 18 over and over again, recycling the ball too much. And I think today we were much more willing to shoot that ball, all our players. And I think when you're willing to take the shot and you do have the quality, you're able to score the goals. And unlike a lot of people here, I guess I was happy with Gyökeres's performance as well. I thought what he provides up front in terms of hold-up play helps. And I think a lot of the times when we were being pressed by Brugge, because I thought Brugge's build-up was really good. They were doing 1 and 2 touch passes it was just good football that they were playing. And when we were under pressure, we were able to have an outlet in Gyökeres, who was able to kind of relieve us from being, under that pressure. And I also do think that him being able to hold up the ball created the space for Madueke and Martinelli to kind of shoot from the outside. So yeah, I was happy. I'm very, very happy with the performance. I'm happy with the rotation. Going into the game, I didn't really care about the result that much. I just wanted our players to get rest. I said I'd be happy with a draw going in, and I'm very, very happy with a win. So yeah, good performance from the team.
I hear that completely. We're going to come back to Arsenal in a few moments. We've obviously got Kane with us and Lloyd Christmas here. But do me a favor, please. Do us a favor, please, Ash. Put the fringe back down again, please. Put the fringe back down again. Go on, son.
Listen,
Go
this
on,
is
Mel.
what happens. This
Now,
is what happens when you say to the barber, you can just do what you want.
Right, put the fringe back down for us, right? We've got now properly though. How it was when you get.
I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
Look at that legit, right? That's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
He looks like Ed Sheeran. He looks like Ed Sheeran, honestly, with that.
Wait, to be fair, I did actually kind of chip my tooth once as well.
Look at that. I love it.
There you go.
Ash, what did you make of your boys' performance tonight? What did you make of Newcastle?
So before the game, I thought we were going to lose the game. The first half was a bit stinky, but the second half we played very well. Like we were very much seemed up for it. Eddie Howe obviously put some confidence into the team. Bruno Guimaraes had a very unfortunate own goal in the first half. But I think, to be fair, we probably should have won the game. We hit the post twice. But if you would ask me before the game if I'd take a point away at Bayern Leverkusen, 100%. So I'm not gonna knock the actual output that we got from the game. But yeah, I'm fairly happy. There was some up and down performances across the team. I think Tonali had a great game. Lewis Miley, when he came on, looked absolutely amazing. And obviously Anthony Gordon looked pretty decent. He was kind of annoying me how he kept on running down the wing and then bringing the ball into the middle of the pitch every time. I wish he kind of just took on his defender, which he did it once and he got us a corner. So, but do you know what? Look, playing away at Bayern Leverkusen, I'll take a draw. We've not been too good in our away fixtures recently, so I'll not complain, and we'll move on to our important game on the weekend against Sunderland. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. What do you echo that, Kane? Because it was the game I had on, but I weren't watching it. It was on the screen, and it felt to me like you were the aggressors by Leverkusen, dangerous on the counter attack. But it seemed just ebb and flow. I think first half they were better. I thought the second half you were better, and I felt a draw seemed like a fair result.
Yeah, I want to credit Leverkusen defending. I thought the first half, for the first 10, 20 minutes of the first half, I thought we were pretty comfortable. But as you said, they were very dangerous on the counter. And then, yeah, another set piece goal that we let in. And yeah, it was a very unfortunate. I mean, Tonali was at fault for me on that goal because the marking on the defender was awful. And yeah, it was just unfortunate that it hit off Bruno Guimaraes' ass and goes in. So it is what it is. But yeah, I felt confident that we would still get something even after that. The second half, we were a lot better. I disagree with Ash a little bit in Gordon's performance. I thought Anthony Gordon was really good today. He cut in quite a few times, but he kept the play going. And then what I think it allows him to do is it keeps the defender guessing, so that when he does go around the outside, he was effective. He got an assist for Louis Miley, who I thought when he came on was night and day difference to Joe Linton, who I thought was pretty poor. Bit anonymous in parts of the game and a bit sloppy in possession at times, which didn't really help. So credit to Anthony Gordon for and the pen as well. I thought we got a bit fortunate with some of the decisions, but I think it was one of those where Malik Chow could well have been sent off, and I don't know if many would have disagreed. But
yeah, I was a little surprised that wasn't given as a red card, to be honest, because it wasn't. I know he did. The leg clash was a little accidental, but because he grabbed his shoulder. Does that make sense? I thought they might. I thought being Europe, I thought we'd have got a red card. But that being said, the actual foul was the leg clash, and that was accidental. It was no attempt.
Yeah, I think it was more because it was a Dogzo thing. But I think the reason the ref gave yellow instead of red, well, the ref gave yellow, and I don't think VAR was going to overturn it. But Livramento was, I think, close enough. You could make the argument, which is why I could see why the Leverkusen fans would want the sending off. But obviously, I'm glad it didn't. And to be honest, I want to give a shout out to Flecken, even though he was at fault for the penalty for dallying on the ball. He made an incredible save against Chow, which would at the time would have made it 3-1 and probably put us out of sight. But I mean, I echo what Ash said. I think before this game, I was optimistic, but I wasn't expecting a win. So to come out of it with a point away is all that really matters. And yeah, Sunderland away. Let's go. I think that's probably the biggest one this week. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait for that game, to be honest with you. It's going to be a
that
good
was
one.
2:00 and Brentford Leeds is 4:30. That made no sense to me at all.
What's that, sorry?
I don't get how your one's 2:00, but Brentford Leeds is 4:30. If anything,
that's because with the Newcastle with the Tyne-Wear derby, they always put it early so that there's less drinking.
Do you know what? Do you know why that's a nonsense? Though, do you know why it's really a nonsense? Because
we start drinking the day before.
It's one of the reasons what Man United, Liverpool always. When I grew up as a kid, sometimes it'd be early on a Sunday, but it was always a 12. It used to be 12:15 or 12:30 kickoffs on a Saturday. But they stopped doing it because all that was happening is the Scousers and the Manx got drunk on the Friday nights and just carried on drinking the whole way around.
Exactly.
They turned up even more drunk and with no sleep, whatever other substances on, and it was like, this is worse. They were actually better off putting it at like 4 PM because then people don't start drinking till later. It's like all the decisions authorities make in this country, fucking stupid. But yeah, it should definitely be the 4:30 game without a shadow of a doubt. But it's another weird Sunday of games as well. Like you've got Crystal Palace, Man City on at the same time. Make that the 4th. That'd be a good game. Like it's crazy. Forest Spurs will be a good game. Brentford Leeds, fuck off. What are they doing, man?
There's definitely been some very interesting fixtures recently. It seems like they're packing so many good games into the same time recently.
Yeah.
I get why they're sticking United on Mondays a lot. I thought that would have happened earlier in the season too because we're not in Europe, so it makes sense for them to get views on a Monday night. Because Monday Night Football, when I grew up, it was always a big game. I feel like in the last few years, Monday Night Football is nearly always games nobody wants to watch, if that makes sense. Because that's because we got so many teams in Europe this year. You've got 6 Champions League teams, Conference League, Europa League, after leagues in Europe. So yeah, it's hard to do. It actually ruins Monday Night Football, to be honest with you. Viewers, do us a favor, please, and hit that like button if you haven't done so already. I am now on the countdown to go to sleep after having my shot of night nurse. So when I start talking like this later, it's because it's putting me to sleep.
You know what, Terry, I went back to your stream last night. You said it earlier, and you could see your face at the end of the stream. You look.
I like this. Yeah. And I'm like that. I'm like, oh shit. Because night nurse it feels really nice. Like it starts for whatever reason, it's got a very, very small sedative in it, and it works on me. But when I start to go, it really goes. But it makes my body like jolt. Does that make sense as well? And I can feel myself like, oh no, in a minute I'm gonna start. Because when I fall asleep, and none of you'll ever know this, because none of you ever fall asleep in a bed with me, I jolt as I'm falling asleep. So I was like, I don't want to start jolting on camera like this because I'm falling asleep. It's worrying me a lot. That's my sleeping habits. In case anybody was interested, I kind of twitch a lot before I sleep. But that's just me. I've got a few super chats to do here before I go to you guys because my super chats are more important. Sorry, lads, but it's the truth. What we're getting to here. What one didn't I do? Here it is. Martinelli's goal, Gyökeres was unmarked in the box. I felt a bit sorry for Gyökeres today. One thing I will, or maybe we'll talk about it more in a moment. The one thing that stands out to me is I don't remember the one time this season that Arsenal put Gyökeres in on goal, clean through on goal to score. Like I just don't remember there being a time, but like where
and that's Gyökeres' fault, right? It's not the supplier's fault. That's Gyökeres' fault.
Yeah, it's Gyökeres' fault.
Everybody else is going direct.
Listen, Terry, but that's the thing. If we weren't scoring goals, this wouldn't be a conversation. But it's the fact that we are scoring goals, and I'm happy that we're scoring goals. But I just think that
it's still a conversation.
When Brandon was talking about it earlier, and I know Brandon gets plastered as the negative fan. I understand it, but
negative.
He was making one little concern. And it's like me, and just like bash. And it's like it was just one thing, and in my opinion, it is a conversation that needs to be had. But besides, we won 3-0 today. We're top of the Champions League. We're happy
right now about
happy.
And everybody's just very, very triggered by it. And so Brandon brought that topic up to the chat, and it kind of leaked into here. So I think that's kind of what's going on.
I do get that. My view, though, is teams just don't seem to want to open up against you as well. Yeah. So I looked at the way Real Madrid were playing in their second half against Man City. If that was that's when you're going to get the chance. You guys are 2-0 up, 3-0 up, and Club Brugge are still not overcommitting and pushing their line up. And I was thinking about how many times this year Haaland has run clean through on goal. Brentford at the Etihad were on the halfway line. I don't remember them standing on the halfway line 10 minutes into the game against you guys. Do you know what I'm saying? So there is an element here of the way teams play nullifies you, and he's in the right places. The other thing I would criticize is on a number of occasions, I always find one of your central midfielders runs to the same area that he runs to.
Yeah, Ben White cut across him today. The ball was meant for him.
Ben White does it, Moreno does it a bit. We had that with Rasmus in year one. Rasmus would make a run to the right place, but Scott McTominay would be ahead of him. And it's like, nah, like Scott would score, so you're not going to not celebrate. But there's part of me that just thinks, well, you've got to work on that in training to make sure that you're not running to the exact same place that Gyökeres is. Maybe those two things will help a little bit.
The thing that annoys me the most about this, sorry, just 1 second. The thing that annoys me about this is like he hasn't even like missed a sitter or done anything wrong or played poorly for him to warrant this criticism. The players are just not finding him, and it's just a little bit of unfortunate. And it drives me nuts. Like he hasn't even properly played 90 minutes. I would love to see him play the whole game. Maybe chances come to him.
Even at the weekend, your equalizer against Villa. I saw that the goal went in. So I don't know why I wasn't watching it. It was on my TV. I tell you what it was. I had a betting app up. I don't even know why, because I didn't put a bet on at the weekend. And it said 1-1 before the TV showed it, because betting apps are always about 30 seconds ahead of TV. They're ahead of everything, mainly to save themselves money. And it went 1-1. And when you watch the build-up and you wear the ball coming, I thought, Gyökeres scoring a tap in at the back post. And then it gets deflected away from him and Trossard scores it. It's all those little things as well, like barely any of those passes to put him in on goal have got to him, barring the couple he scored. And someone here says, Terry, is everyone else to blame and not him? No, of course, he's had some bad games and he's probably made some of the wrong runs and had runs and bad touches. I do look at it, though, and I'll give him the same sort of feedback that I've put towards my strikers in the last few years. I want to see more chances created for them, like I see City create for Erling Haaland. So that's fair. This is Kel. The yellow card for Crackers was in the 88th minute. Was pathetic. He was fouling various players. I'm a Liverpool fan. I was annoyed Rudiger wasn't booked for the second. Yeah, I agree. They could have gone down to 10 men tonight. It's a great shout. They can't accept that they were wrong because they called us Arteta sexuals for not wanting him. He can't even hold the ball up properly. Movement is not good enough. All our strikers get chances, but not him. That's the other counter argument to this. Moreno seems to find space and get chances. Kai Havertz would get moaned at a lot for missing chances and would find them. So there is the other side of the argument, which is the movement wrong? That being said, the Arteta sexuals. Hang on. The Arteta sexuals didn't want Gyökeres. They wanted Šeško. It was the Arteta outers who wanted Gyökeres and not Šeško. I just want to point that out if we're going to be fair.
The Arteta outers are leaving him out, hanging out to dry now.
Yeah.
I was thinking devil's advocate, right? Do you think maybe that those other players get the chances because the defenses aren't worried about them, and they're two
completely different type of player. They're two Gyökeres, Marino, and compared to Marino, Jesus, and Havertz, it's two completely different sets of player. 1,000,000%, 100%. There's no way
they're going to focus more on the winger as well, rather than focus 100%. On a striker.
Exactly, and we utilize our wingers so much in our system. You're not going to see him.
I just noticed that Madueke and Martinelli aren't scoring those type of goals with Marino in the team.
100%.
Maybe
so that's the other thing that people it's just getting overlooked.
Yeah, I hear that. Egal, what did you make of Arsenal overall, away from the super chats and that comment? What did you make of Arsenal tonight? Big rotation, Egal, but the perfect start to Europe continues for you.
Honestly, Saka, you're my guy. Noni Madueke today showed us that we don't have to play you every game.
Get the clip up. Why? What? Get the clip up. Yeah, we're gonna get the clip up, man.
Nah, it's all good. I'm just saying this is great because we've been asking for rotation, we've been asking for squad depth, and games like today, you get to see the full strengths of our squad depth. You have players like Jesus who haven't kicked the ball in over a year coming in off the bench, and you can just tell he's levels above majority of those players in the other team. I thought Club Brugge I thought we were going to make more rotation. I wanted to see Raya off the pitch. I wanted to see Zubimendi off the pitch, but we speak about Noni Madueke. I thought Zubimendi was also one of the best players on the pitch. He was one of the man of the matches, in my opinion. He had himself a 9 out of 10 performance, 2 assists to bounce back after all the criticism he was receiving midweek in the game versus Aston Villa. What else is there? Obviously, we spoke about Noni Madueke. He did his thing. Martinelli pregame spoke about the fact that there's more space and it's more open in Europe, and you can just tell once again by the goal that he scored, he's not getting that much breathing room in the Premier League to take a shot from distance at all. And Arsenal, we're just making it too easy. We're making it look too easy. I know it doesn't matter what you do in the league phase. It's all about what you do in the knockouts. But we're on like a historic run right now in the league phase. We've conceded 1 goal, 6 wins, and this is what, the second year of this format. We're already head and shoulders better than what Liverpool and Barcelona did last year in this format. And I'm not surprised that a lot of people don't have us as favorites to go on to win this tournament. But right now, we're just making everything look easy. We only get to play who we have in front of us, but it really is. It really has been a very, very well managed league phase for us. 6 wins, no defeats, 1 goal conceded across all 6 games, and we've changed the back line, we've changed the midfield, we've changed the attack in every single game. I'm just saying to myself, fair play, more of this, please, more of this. We got Wolves, we got Everton. I want to see more rotation. I want to see some rotation against Wolves in the Premier League. I want to see Arsenal go full strength versus Everton. I want to see us manage this period quite well, because we have the squad depth to manage this next couple games. And what the Brentford performance and this performance today told me is I have to have more belief in this team and this squad if there is rotation, to not think that there's going to be a drop off in performances, because we've seen the team versus Brentford, the team today, very, very different squads, but yet no real drop off in performances. And might I even say they've raised their levels slightly.
Yeah, no, listen, I agree. I think there's been too much made of, I thought your squad was really good. You lost to Villa. Villa on form are one of the best teams in the league. And I think right now they could give most teams in Europe a game. They look that good at the moment. And you did have your situations. Now, where your squad depth comes into play is when you are playing Club Brugge, when your final game, I can't even pronounce their names, Kirat. Whatever they're called, right?
Almaty, yeah.
You need 1 more point to secure top 2, essentially. You're away to Inter next, but that's even the beauty bit. You can even rotate a little bit away against Inter Milan, because the result doesn't really other than the Arteta hours. If you lose that, it'll be the end of the world, even though you're pretty much qualified. But you're going to get at least 1 point in the next 2 games. You'll win the last home game.
No, it can't be Terry. They only care about winning the trophy, so...
Yeah, it shouldn't matter at that point.
I don't know what they care about. Seriously, at this point, I've had enough conversations with them. I'm like, I actually don't know what you want.
Yeah, I hear you. So you're just in that point, and it's the Wolves game. Like Wolves, you might not do it, but I would even contemplate not having. The issue is with not playing Declan Rice.
I would make 5 changes, Terry. That's how serious.
I suppose it's this. Look, I've seen a few Gooners say I'd leave Rice out again. I'd leave this person out. The issue is that maybe having a whole week or so off is wrong because of like rhythm, as an example. You don't want to mess that up, but you've got a great opportunity this weekend. I think you'll beat Wolves very, very comfortably, even with a few first team players out. And these are the moments where you get that rotation in, you get the squad players in, you pick up those points, and you demonstrate your squad depth. Because you guys know as well as I do, 2 years ago, you're not winning a game like tonight. Go back 5 years ago. I mean, go back 4 or 5 years ago. You were getting beaten regularly by teams at Club Brugge's level in European competitions. You were. So
in the Europa League, we had guys like Eddie Nketiah and Christian Mosquera starting. Now we have Martinelli and Noni Madueke as our backups. It's different levels, Terry. Of course.
After Wolves, we have a whole week anyway.
But no. But I need to ask you guys a question, because I was speaking to D earlier today, and he was like, "We can't rotate. We have to play our best team available in all these games." I'm like, no. I think versus Wolves at home, we can make a couple changes here and there. Everton away, I want to play our strongest 11, and call it controversial or whatever. I think at home versus Crystal Palace in the League Cup, we can afford to make 4 changes.
Do yourselves, anyone who ever says that, if you know that's a conversation piece that's probably going to come up, I would ignore it. Go back and look at 2 of United's greatest seasons. Go back to 99 and go back to 08. Go and look at City's treble winning year, or the domestic treble winning year, and just start going back and looking at the starting lineups for each game. Look at the rotation, the amount of times we did it as just a thought experiment on one of our shows. We went back to the 08-09 season for Man United, and you just literally see it'd be 1 week you'd see Raphael, Rio, Vidic, Evra, and the midfield would be Scholes and Carrick. The very next Premier League game, it'll be Fletcher and Scholes in the middle, Wes Brown at right back, Rio was still in the team, John O'Shea was suddenly left back, and Evra was there. The next game, the level of rotation was massive, and it's because we didn't always achieve it, but it's because Fergie was trying to win all the trophies every year. That's what you're trying to achieve. You do not need to play your strongest 11 for all your Premier League games. Of course, have them on the bench. Imagine, you're going 1-0 down at half time against Wolves and you're struggling, and you've got 3 or 4 big hitters on the bench. Bring them on. You're not going to struggle against Wolves, by the way. They are really bad. They're really, really bad. But you don't need to, and you shouldn't play your strongest team for every single game that you play. And then you do risk certain competitions. There'll be times where you risk going out the FA Cup or out the League Cup when you play a weaker team like tonight. But you can't play your strongest team in 60 games in a season. You're going to, ironically, the same people advocating for that will be the same people going, your manager don't half injure a lot of players by overplaying them, don't he?
Yeah.
The problem is you can't win. So it's you
But
have
Terry,
to
my
do
question
the
to you
rotation.
is-
Have to
My question to you is: do you pre-plan it, or and have a schedule?
pre-plan
for-
pre-plan to a certain degree. I'm only
or-
going by.
Or do you go? Say for example, Zubamendi played. Declan Rice didn't play this game. You take out Zubamendi. You take out Odegaard. You play Eze.
But that's part of the pre-planning. So what would used to happen a lot, and the player would speak about it. So Rooney always talks about how Fergie had this brilliant way of, he was the man that really innovated rotation in the English game because it wasn't really done before him. So why no one ever thought the treble was possible. And Rooney said that he always did this thing where he'd tell you that you were dropped, but he would sort of give it a silver lining. Go, look, you're dropped. So you're not playing this weekend against Everton. But that's because the week after, we're away in the Champions League to Bayer Leverkusen, and I've got a special job for you that night. So he said that Park Ji-sung wouldn't be disappointed that he was sitting on the bench because he knew that he was starting in a couple of games' time. So what Arteta needs to do, and he doesn't need to tell the public, doesn't need to tell the fans, because it isn't any of our business. He doesn't want to tell the world. He should be planning 2 or 3 games ahead. He should know, if I'm resting Rice tonight, there's a reason for that. If I'm giving Saka a game off, I know when he's playing the next game. It shouldn't be a case of I'm going to wait till training ends. So we know when fans go, it should all be on meritocracy. There's an element of truth to that, but not when it comes to rotation, because you can't overplay players. Certain individuals can, but you've got to be really, really careful with it. So there's an element of planning. There's an element of maybe, imagine Martinelli at the weekend scores a hat-trick and then he scores a brace in the next game. It'd be very hard to leave him out for the 4th match if it's an important game against a good team. But if it's against a team you really should be beating with rotation, you might want to rest him because he's now forced himself back into the first team. So not everyone being dropped is, well, why is he out the team again straight away? You have to rotate, especially over the festive period. So there's a lot going on. Let's go back to some of these super chats here. This one says, look how they have flipped the script to blame the manager. Same guys criticize Havertz, who has 24 GA and 31 starts as a striker for us, but is deemed not good enough. Forget the link-up play. He can't trap a ball, is what Mike says here. That's obviously going on about, speaking about Gyökeres.
I thought Gyökeres did some decent hold-up play, to be fair, and he only struggled really when he had to play out. So he was playing the ball to somebody, and that's where he struggled. He didn't really struggle with the actual hold-up itself, because he wanted to hold up and try and turn, but he couldn't get past the man, and he was loose with the pass a couple of times. But when he was holding up, he was fine. I thought it was fine anyway. I would critique him a little bit, that he needs to run away from defenders rather than track with defenders. That would be my only criticism. But I don't think you can criticize a striker because the rest of the players are direct. I just don't, I find it bizarre.
I hear that.
Even the Villa game, when Noni took that shot into the side netting, he had no inclination whatsoever. He never even thought didn't even give it a second thought to try and find the striker.
No, I
smashed it.
Yeah, I agree. Akin here says, why should we change our system that works 8 times out of 10 to suit Gyökeres? I prefer Gyökeres meets the team halfway. He needs to improve his touch and passes for a start. At the moment, we're winning. But that's also a great point as well. I mean, I do get pulling on concerns, but then again, I'm in a very different situation where my team barely wins. So if I could just be winning as regularly as you guys, I don't think I'd be complaining. But that's because I'm in a very different situation. You guys, I see it from my point of view, but equally, you guys are nitpicking now because your fans are looking for every conceivable inch, every conceivable advantage, minute here, minute there. I said this to Don about the goalkeeping situation at Chelsea. Some people might only think there's a marginal improvement from Rob Sanchez to Mike Mignon. But if you marginally improve your goalkeeper, you marginally improve a midfielder, you marginally improve a striker, you marginally improve a centre-back, all those little marginal changes can be the difference between that win percentage being 65% or being 70% and winning the league. That's what happens at the highest level of the game. It's every little, it's why sprinters that are really fast shave their legs. Like all those little hairs being shaved off your legs doesn't make you much faster, but it might make you
take their nipples. Have you heard?
Yeah, all sorts. That's why that might make you 1/100th of a second faster and gets you a gold medal rather than a silver medal. It's inches that these athletes look for, and teams.
Maignan over Sanchez being marginal is wild, by the way.
Well, some Chelsea fans on this platform are wild.
Hey, a couple of days ago, they were telling us we're on the same level.
Yeah, I know.
I just want everyone to know that the level of competition in the Champions League across the board for everyone is very similar, I would say. Even though we people are going to say, oh, Arsenal had easy games. If you actually look at how we've managed the Champions League, I don't think people really are giving us the credit that we deserve. We are currently 6 for 6 in the Champions League, and nobody else is even near us.
I mean, did we just beat Bayern? I mean, that's the other best team in the Champions League. So,
in fairness, I'm just sorry, this is changing the subject completely, but sprinters do sometimes tape their nipples. It's mainly to prevent painful chafing that can be a distraction.
I don't know. When I hear you guys talking about taping your nipples, all I do is feel like hurt right here. I'm like, oh.
If you run,
you got a hairy chest of you.
If you run for a long time, you'll start bleeding. Like you need to.
I hear you on that. Gyökeres played better with Trossard. I think Gyökeres and Odegaard need to get some play time together. Trossard got the salary increase because we got Gyökeres. Yeah, look, I understand why people are criticizing him. The crazy part is that Burnley game before he got injured, he was looking at his absolute best, and then he gets injured. There he's finding his feet again.
Unfortunate.
I don't think they find him. I was watching the game today. I see him making runs. Like Martinelli gets the ball, he's running around to Martinelli to get the pass. Martinelli doesn't pass it to him. He's in the box waiting for the ball. It's almost like they take the extra touch before getting him the ball. Sometimes you need to just get the ball to him first touch, like Eze did against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, he's created the space as well. He's created the space for those wingers to be direct.
I do think there's going to be a game this season where Gyökeres has just a truly next level phenomenal performance.
Saturday,
where he scores a hat trick or might score 4.
Well,
I think it comes in one game this season. And I think
if he does it on Saturday, they're going to call him a flat track bully.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what he really needs to get the pressure. He needs a game like he needs to score. You need to score against a team like Wolves as a striker, but then he needs one of those big games. He needs, and it's a shame that he missed them, but he needed goals in a North London derby. I mean, in fairness, he would have got a match-winning goal against Chelsea had Timber not put his head up there. So I think he needs a moment like that for himself, for his team, but also just to get the media off his back. Because the one thing I am disappointed in with the media is how every week Isak gets given a pass, but yet Gyökeres doesn't. That for me is the disingenuous nature of it. I still think they all need time. As an example, like you look at Nico Gonzalez. I know he's not a striker, but Nico Gonzalez. There's a lot of criticism of his first 6 months, and I remember we did a piece in the summer on him maybe leaving, and he hadn't been very good. But as I said at the time, a lot of players that play for Pep take a year or so to settle. And the longer he's been there, the better he started to look, and it just takes a bit of time. But of course, rivals are not gonna give you that. But there we go.
Look, one thing quickly. I don't
Go on,
know
mate.
if you've done it. I haven't been watching too much of your content today, unfortunately. But did you do a video on
Terrible.
Paul Scholes?
Behavior.
We spoke about it on the Straight Facts, but I'll be doing a full length stuff on it tomorrow. We spoke about it on Straight Facts.
I'll wait for that. I'll wait for that because
Yeah,
I thought he was ridiculous for what he said.
No, I agree.
He basically said,
Go on, go on
you're
again.
not going to win the league if you don't win big games. And I'm like, last time I remember, Man United won multiple league titles when they did not beat Arsenal or Chelsea those seasons. So I don't know what he's really referring to.
Who was this?
City lost to us the year that they won the league.
What Paul Scholes said, if Arsenal have no chance of winning the league unless they start winning some of their big games, but he included Villa away as a big game. So my view is, well, Man United away is a big game. Newcastle away is a big game. Spurs at home is a big game.
We're a small club. We're not.
Well. If Villa are big,
It's a
you're
good game
big.
for us because we didn't take points off you at St James's for a long time. So it's
Very surface level analysis because he didn't analyze over the last couple of years. We had won majority of our big games, but we lost the league because of the smaller ones.
Yeah,
By the way, drawing big games is still in my head is always a point gained, regardless of context. Always a point gained, especially away from home. So.
Not always, but most of the time, man.
Sometimes,
guys, Newcastle away is a big game.
Guys, listen, I want to thank you all very much for coming on this evening and having your say on the match and the game and everything else. The panel, you've been amazing. Super chat. I am starting to fall asleep. So I took that shot 40 minutes ago. So I've got to get myself to bed before I start drooling on camera. Thank you tomorrow with more content, including Six-Sided in the evening. But until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all soon. Peace.